welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to discuss autism and acceptance. Recently, a friend mentioned that they were reluctant to watch my recent video because they mentioned that autism was a sore subject for them. So this friend is autistic as well, and he often shares his struggles, and I totally get that. But it really made me think about how there are so many of us that struggle with autism, and we focus so much on the negative side. And while I totally understand that, I also feel like it's very important for us to reach a point of acceptance so that we can begin to live a more positive life and have a more positive mindset. Kind of sharing my experience and how I have come to the point where I accept my autism, and I'm okay with being autistic. That's who I am. So if you were diagnosed with autism later in life, it's gonna be a journey and a cycle of emotions. At first, you probably felt relieved and even happy just to know why you are the way you are. Like, you realized that it explained so much about you, and you were just happy to know that. And I definitely experienced that when I was first diagnosed with autism. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm so happy. This literally explains why I am the way I am and why I do the things that I do and why I have the struggles that I struggle with. And I was just so elated to know those things. Well, as time went on, it really started to sink in like, hey, you're autistic, and a lot of things that you can't do or that you struggle to do or things that are more difficult for you are because you're autistic. And when that really sunk in, it kind of made me depressed then, because then I was sad and I was like, I could accomplish so much more if I wasn't autistic. And I will cycle through those emotions of being elated and depressed, elated and depressed. But now I can honestly say that I've reached a point where it's like, you know what? You're autistic, and that's okay. And once you reach that point of acceptance, you can better navigate through life because, one, you're aware of your limitations. And knowing your limitations is very, very important, because now when I think about making new friends or adding someone into my life, I know my limitations. So I can make a decision that keeps that in mind, that doesn't make me have to struggle with contacting people, reaching out, because I have really bad problem about reaching out to people and staying connected with people. And I don't want to make anyone feel bad because I'm not reaching out as much as they would like. So I really take that in consideration when I think about, adding someone into my life, because I don't want to cause that unnecessary stress for myself. Also, I know my limitations when it comes to being employed. And right now, I honestly feel like that is something that is totally not doable for me. Luckily, I'm in a position to where I don't have to work right now. Um, that may change. I'm hoping that I can generate a business that will allow me to continue to be at home. So I have my fingers crossed about that. Um, Also, when it comes to socializing, I've really got to the point where it's like, you know what? You're just a quiet person, and that's okay. And you don't have to constantly talk and talk and talk. And you can be in a room with another person and not feel that pressure to talk. Like, it doesn't have to be awkward because you accept that you're you, and there's nothing wrong with being quiet or feeling the need to fill up the space with conversation. And so if the other person is uncomfortable with that silence, that's on them and that's not on you. So coming to that realization has been so sorry. I am so bad about popping my tongue when I make these YouTube videos. But anyway, knowing that, it just like it has made my life so much better. And it's like, you know, having autism is like a neurotype. It's basically your brain is wired different from neurotypical or autistic people. And that's okay. Like, if you really think about it, the fact that we're autistic really becomes our personality and it makes us who we are. And I really can't imagine myself not being autistic. Like, even though I know I have all these different struggles and stuff because I'm autistic, like, I cannot picture myself any other way. Like, this is who I am, and I'm perfectly fine with that. And it's like, I kind of feel like it's, you may be diagnosed with a disease or a disorder, and especially if it's a chronic illness. And I was recently diagnosed with POTS, and I always felt that I had POTS, but it was nice to advocate for myself and actually try to get the diagnosis. And my diagnosis was confirmed. And with that, I'm on that journey of acceptance with that as well. And it's like, I know my limitations, and that's okay. This is my life right now. This is the cards that was dealt to me, and I have to make the best of it. So when I'm going out, I know, hey, try to pace yourself. Don't walk too fast because your heart rate is going to increase. If it's too hot, I may want to stay in. Showering can be hard because you have to stand up. And with POTS, when you're standing up, if I stand up longer than 15 minutes, I'm going to faint. Like, if I'm just being still, standing in one spot, I'm going to faint. And so I used to struggle so much in the shower, and it's like I would be about to die in there, leaning on the wall, and I would just feel so horrible. And now it's like, you know what, girl, get you a chair. Like, sit down in the shower because I need to sit down. And that's okay. And it's the same thing with being autistic. Like, you really have to come to the point where you're comfortable and okay being autistic. And knowing your limitations is so important. You reach that acceptance and you know why you are the way that you are, and that's okay. And so I wanted to make this video to help those who are still on that journey to acceptance, to be like, hey, I am autistic, and that's okay. And if someone's not okay with that, that's their problem. That's not your problem. Continue to be who you are. Just the way you are is fine. And I hope that when you watch this video, you keep it in mind as you go throughout your journey. Come back and watch this video if you feel like you need a little pick me up. But please, please, please get to the point of acceptance, because we deserve to be celebrated, and you deserve to celebrate yourself. In spite of everything, you still deserve to celebrate yourself, because one of the great things about being human is the fact that we are all different, and no one can be you. No one can do the things like you do. No one can come up with the things like you do. No one can create like you do. And there's something powerful about that. Like the things, the gifts that we have within, the things that make us us is so powerful and unique. And we really have to lean into that, especially as an autistic person. So anyway, I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like this video is long enough. I really just wanted to make this video to come and be positive and help those along their journey. And even if you weren't diagnosed later in life and you just always known that you're autistic, you'll still probably, feel like, oh, it's such a bummer being autistic and I have to go through this and I have to go through that. But don't dwell on that. Like, accept it. Just, I cannot say that enough. Just accept the fact that you're autistic and it comes with certain limitations, and design your life around those limitations to make it better for you. If you stayed this far, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next video.